we will continue to have this human migration. Do you understand now? So what do we do? In my view, I think if we can, through the UN, United Nations or Africa...
You have faith in United Nations?
I'm suggesting.
Oh, I'm just asking you. Do you have faith in the United Nations?
It's a great initiative if
Right.
only their promises are kept. Because, one thing is to say a lot of things, another thing is to keep those promises. The promises, the treaties they signed within the continent, that is I'm talking about the AU now.
The African Free Trade Agreement.
And the human rights objectives. Yes.
You mentioned all these organizations, United Nations. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned the AU, which
Yes.
I don't know much about, because I know the United Nations is in Geneva and New York.
Yes.
And the AU is in Addis Ababa.
Yes.
So if somebody is sitting in Malamulele or Lebuakomo, or they're sitting in Bokom, how does the United Nations or the AU assist them to get a job in Malabastad, for example?
That is why organizations like the one we are running become a very key ally to solving the problems of Africa. Because obviously, let's use Donald Trump for example. Donald Trump doesn't know what is happening in all the various places. You understand? That is why the state structures is being established, so that people from the lower level of the state can deal with problems that happen within their locality. That is why
so you believe in the tiered system of government. So in South Africa, the 282 municipalities.
Yes.
For under 9 provinces. What's your view? Why is there so much unemployment when we have 282 municipalities?
That is where the good governance thing has its role to play. Because now, with such a structure, it's a great structure. Because most of the other African countries may have a vague structure in that context, but they're not really being implemented in the right context.
If we go back to the pendulum of xenophobia, because
yes,
I want us to stay on it.
Yeah, of course.
We have seen that, for example, there's a statistic that is thrown around. 150,000 people have been victims of xenophobia through displacement or maiming or killing. We know about the 69 in 2008. We know about Ebuka Nwosu last year, Rustenburg, burned to death, beaten mercilessly, accused of being in possession of drugs or selling drugs by a crazy mob
yes.
that had gotten fed up of the so-called drug dealers in the Rustenburg area. Now, with all these victims, one thing is common, that they never get any help, no justice. There's been no single South African, and I stand to be corrected, has been prosecuted for xenophobia. I know we saw on television the attackers of Emmanuel Sitole in Alex. Right. And you remember the famous stabbing with the guy's knife right up in the air.
When I came out into the street to just get some general photographs of the environment and the debris from the previous night's looting, I just heard some screams and some shouting, and I looked down the road and I could see a group of men running towards me. So I ran towards them, and that's when one of the attackers had actually managed to get Emmanuel on the floor, and he began to hit him with a monkey wrench. I just kept getting closer and closer, and at one point I was maybe 4 or 5 meters away. These guys, in my opinion, they looked like hardened street thugs, criminals, just by the intensity of and the way they moved and the expressions on their faces. They wanted one thing, and that was to kill Emmanuel. They wanted his blood, and nothing was going to stop them from doing that.
Now, we don't know what has happened to those gentlemen who were suspects in that high-profile murder. But what do you think, given that there's so many victims of xenophobia in South Africa, what do you think the government should do directly for the victims as of today?
Knowing the bigger problem, and all the factors that constitute why there is xenophobia in the first place.
Yes.
Because I don't want to be too quick to jump into let's fix the victim and then the problem still carry on. It's like an armed robber come into my premises, jump my fence, steal my stuff. I wake up, I buy new stuff. I have not really solved the problem. I
And you
have
still
to
leave the
first,
gate open.
yes, I have to first do the fencing, then I can replace my stuff, and I'll be sure those stuff will remain there. So why I'm making
So
this,
you won't buy any food yet until you fix the fence.
I said, I'm referring to furnishers,
Oh, okay.
basically. So if it's food, of course I'll eat food, but priority has to also go to the making sure that when I buy the food, the guy don't come the next night to take the food. So
Right.
in other words, we must look at the picture, the solution from both ends. The victims need help as a way of giving a positive statement out there.
But what
to
sort
say,
of help do you think the victims
I'll come
need?
to that.
Yes.
As a way of giving a positive statement to the public or the perpetrator that the
Yes.
government does not promote nor support the activities of xenophobia or xenophobic attacks. Then on the other hand, we need to also look deeper to say, who are these perpetrators and what are the factors that, triggered their frustration to that point? Because I think most of the perpetrators are just miscarrying their frustration. They miscarry the frustration and pour it on the innocent man who they assumed is responsible for their problem. But the fact is their problem is coming from other sources, which is related to good governance.
The real victims
Yes.
in xenophobia are the South Africans, because some of them even end up killing South Africans in this orgy of violence.
Yes.
Because it's difficult to. They don't write.
You can't
They don't
tell
write
who
South
is,
African people's
yeah,
heads,
if
right?
I look like
So,
Nigerian,
yes,
I'm
the South Africans that look Zambian,
Yes.
very Zambian, and the South Africans that look Nigerian, and the Nigerians that look South African.
and there are cases where I could be South African and I'm born abroad.
Absolutely.
I've lived abroad. I might not be able to speak Zulu.
Yes.
Or
In fact, there was one
the
phrase.
signature ID.
There was one phrase
Yes.
that used to go around where if they ask you, I think it was in KZN, so they say, "What is this?" in Zulu.
Yes.
So if you can't say Indololwan,
Yes.
then they
Then
hit
you've been ID'd not to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you must know how to say Indololwan
So,
if you're in KZN.
thank you very much. I'll
Ndololwane.
put that into my archive.
So can you say Indololwan?
Undololwane.
No, Indololwan.
Undololwane.
Indololwan.
That's right.
It's a very lovely word, actually.
Yes.
But it's just that if you don't have,
If you don't have that ID with
when
you,
the axe
then
comes.
so
But let me even take you back.
yes.
South Africa has over R1 trillion in GDP.
Yes.
They have about 57 million people. And out of those 57 million people, about 80%, about 80% or 90% are black.
Yes.
We could have an
Africans.
argument, 10% are whites, or let's just say 80% are black.
Yes.
Now, out of the 80% that are black, that's about 40 million or 45 million.
Yes.
Nigeria has over 180 million people.
Yes.
I remember that a gentleman called Obed Bapela. Obed Bapela. He used to be in foreign affairs, but he's now a deputy minister.
Okay.
And when they talked about this free visa between Nigeria and South Africa, the guy said it will be difficult because Nigerians don't have a national ID. Now Nigeria has implemented and is implementing a national ID system
Yes.
to the national identification number.
That's right.
What do you think that will sway South African government to allow Nigerians to come in freely and South Africans vice versa, given the pain that this visa issues has caused and how Dangote is crying about visas in Africa affecting his ability to move around? What do you think? What's your take?
I think looking at it from an economic viewpoint, there's a lot of advantages to if Africa can unite as one and allow the free movement of Africans within the continent.
Now I want us to specifically first look at
how the idea.
Nigeria, South Africa, 66 billion rand, a common market of over 230 million people, so many black South Africans are missing out on the gravy train. That is Nigeria.
Yes.
MTN Nigeria, $6 billion.
Yes.
Second largest market cap on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. 87% owned by South Africans, but they're not people like the guys who are in Sebo King, right? So how does South Africa take advantage of that market even more by allowing South Africans to travel to Nigeria easier if there's no visas? for
Okay.
example? I want you to specifically look at that.